Listen up, get ready, I'm not gonna take no more. There's a revolution, a revelation going on in my soul. Buckle up, get ready, we're not gonna sit back.
Hey, we're back with more live from the Heartland for the week of March 11th. We are recording it on International Women's Day, and that's why we brought two women who've been very important in my life, very influential and important in a lot of people's lives. We had Marilyn Katz earlier, and now we have State Representative Robyn Gabel. She is the rep for the 18th District, and she's been in the legislature since 2010. I remember when she was holed up in a corner over on Diversity at Milwaukee, Chicago Maternity Center office, and working away for women's rights. How are you today, Robyn?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. Thank you for inviting me, Michael.
You just came out of the legislature. What was going on?
Well, this week we're getting bills out of committee. So everybody is working on their priority bills, moving them in committee. And then next week they'll be on the floor, and we'll really have a better sense of what kinds of bills we're going to be passing this year.
Well, from just a lowly member of the state legislature, you are now honored with the role of majority leader of the body. Congratulations. That's a big deal. And does it mean you're going to spend a lot more time down in the Patch or down in Springfield?
So it is an honor. It's quite an honor. Chris Welch, our speaker, appointed me to be the majority leader. So I'm like number 2 in the House. It has been wonderful. The speaker and I really see eye to eye and have similar agendas. So for me, it's a great way to be able to get our ideas and our values and the issues that are important to us on the table and in the discussions and for the most part, voted on and become policy for Illinois. So it's been very exciting. I am not in Springfield more than I was before, but I have more work to do on the weekends and a little more. One time, the Speaker Welch said to me, "Oh yeah, we have a." I said, "Oh, so we were going to be off that week?" And he goes, "Not you, Robyn."
So with the withdrawal of Mike Madigan, who was the longtime Speaker of the House, with Chris Welch taking over the speakership, do you see this as a new era in Illinois politics?
It is absolutely a new era. His Speaker Welch, really, his motto is transparency, collaboration, openness, and it's very, very different than our last speaker. He really also wants to build more leaders. So we really look at people's strengths and try to put them in the best place for them in the legislature. We talk to them, see what their goals are, their own personal goals, and really try to be able to use people's strengths to have the best chamber that we can have.
State Representative Robyn Gabel, you've been around the women's movement and one of the leaders for a long, long time. We've made a lot of strides in this country for the rights of women, and now they're under fire. We always knew there was a fascist underbelly. It has really come to the fore. It is waking up a lot of us who thought we were on coasting along in a progressive direction. The question of abortion rights and with Roe versus Wade being overturned, Illinois has sort of turned into a sanctuary state for women seeking health care. I recently had Dee Gorton, who worked in SNCC, and Jane Addams, who was the National Secretary of Students for Democratic Society. They live down in Southern Illinois, and they talked about doing abortion work there when they're surrounded by Missouri, Kentucky, and Indiana. Talk a little bit about Illinois and our role now and, interference from churches, the right wing. What's the threat these days?
Well, we purposely passed laws that would make abortion still legal here in Illinois if Roe v. Wade was overturned, because we had a feeling that was coming. And Illinois did have a law which said that if Roe v. Wade's overturned, then we go back to our original abortion laws, which would have made it illegal here. And we got rid of that. We changed the law to make sure that that wasn't going to happen. I think that we are, Illinois, we're trying to pass laws so that we can make sure that we are as open and accessible as possible to women in other states. We want to make sure that our doctors won't get prosecuted for serving women from other states. We want to make sure that women are able to come here and get the services that they need. We're, raising funds and making sure that Planned Parenthood can function and that they can provide birth control to people because, prevention is always the best idea. So we need to make sure that everybody gets the birth control that they want as well. And there is the fear that if if the law is passed nationally, Illinois would be in the same situation as other states. So it's not that we don't fear that as well, because we do. And, I think we just have to make sure that Senate and the House remain Democrat, and we don't have to deal with, or the presidency, a couple of those seats have to remain Democrat to make sure that we can keep that legal here in Illinois. It is so disheartening, though, to see it happen in so many states around us and throughout the country. Women's reproductive rights are really the basis of their ability to function in society. If they can't control their own reproduction, it really limits their abilities to be able to participate in society. I think we've gotten a little better with women's wages. And we passed a bill here a couple of years ago, which said that there had to be one of the ways to help with equal pay was that we passed a law that employers could not ask how much you made at the last job. Because what we were finding was that women would start out being paid less. And then if every job you go to, you tell them what you made at your last job, they would pay you less again than they would pay a man. So, businesses, and you've run businesses too, Michael, you have a budget, what you want to pay somebody. You should just pay what you were going to pay.
A lot of attention. And as you know, we were always in the debt.
Yeah, right. But, you knew how much you paid a waitress. Did you say, are you a man or a woman? I'm going to pay you less if you're a woman? No. Do you ask them, how much did you make at your last job?
Got away with that.
No. So, no businesses should be able to do that. They should just pay what they plan to pay someone.
Well, we have a certain situation in the country where the right has really gone. They control legislatures and they go for smaller elected offices. And we do know that when it's put to a popular vote, 60% of the country supports abortion. And Kansas was a great example where, they try to ban abortion, but the voters, many of them who probably voted for Trump, they came out and said, no, we want to have the right to abortion. We most recently are hearing a lot about this abortion pill that a judge in Texas, pretty conservative guy, a heavy Christian, is going to rule on. How will that affect things? And then I want to ask you about Walgreens too.
Sure. So the pill, there are a couple different kinds of pills.
Right.
So,
I don't have the details, but one of them would still be available and it still works.
Yes. So if one of them becomes outlawed, there's still another one that people could take, people could take to have a medical abortion. It's not as effective it doesn't work quite as well, but it still works very well. So we could still use that pill here, but it's not surprising that they're trying to outlaw that. As soon as the abortion became illegal, everybody said, well, that's okay. We have these pills that work. As soon as the right hears that, they're like, pills? Okay, well, let's get rid of those now. So it's not surprising that they came after it. It's really a shame, but it's not surprising. So luckily, we still have one more that's used for many different illnesses or different treatments. So that one cannot be outlawed. So we can continue to use that.
That's a little bit of good news.
Yeah.
The other thing was, I heard it when I was driving back from at Y in Evanston, the wonderful McGaw Y. I think you live in Evanston now, and we hear that Walgreens is not going to sell the pill in a number of states, even though federally it's legal. And this really irked me because I do like the Walgreens, that green Walgreens on Chicago Avenue in Evanston. And I don't take a lot of medication, but what I do get, I get up there usually. And I know that Walgreens is not banning in Illinois, but what's your thought about a corporation siding with the religious right and the conservative political right? What's about that? I mean, don't they expect a backlash? California already is going to cut off all dealing. The state's going to not deal with Walgreens at all.
So I was pretty surprised too, because there's, there have been retributions against companies like that when they make those kinds of decisions. Immediately I got a call from the lobbyist from Walgreens saying, "Oh, we're just doing what's really required by the law, and we're not really doing anything wrong." And I'm like, okay, well, we'll look at it and we're going to monitor it and we're going to see what actually happens here. So, I think that if they really do stop providing the abortion pill and it's legal in the states, I don't know. I mean, there are consequences to doing that. And I think that there are some groups talking about doing a boycott. I think that, that's where corporations feel the pressures in their pocketbook.
Okay, we're talking with State Representative Robyn Gabel, an old friend, and I'm just going to throw a few things at you. Last week, Katie Hogan was the host, and she mentioned that Jen Walling of the Illinois Environmental Council and also a 49th Ward resident they have an anti-plastic, anti-styrofoam bill that's going to the Illinois legislature. Any report on that? Have you seen it yet? Is it in the works? What's the deal?
So Laura Fine is the state senator who's carrying it in the Senate. She said that it did not make it out of committee. I have not talked to Jen yet. Jennifer Gong-Gershowitz, the state rep, is carrying it in the House. But, I do know that and we have plenty of time. We still have bills that are going to be on second that we can add this issue onto as an amendment. I think that this is certainly something that interests the Green Caucus, which has so many more members than we ever had before, like almost 40 members. So it's exciting. Yeah. When I first came here, we had about 12. So in 13 years, we've grown from 12 to 40. So I think that, this is an issue that we've been working on for a number of years already. As you know, in the state legislature, sometimes it just takes a few years to get these bills passed. People need to hear about it, learn about it, and eventually support it.
Go ahead.
That's one of the bills that we're going to continue to be working on.
What is one or two of the gnarly issues that the legislature needs to address or plans on addressing?
Well, I got an update. Jen's bill on banning styrofoam did come out of the House committee. So it will be on the floor. It will be something we discuss. We can send it over to the Senate and they can vote on it then.
It's food service containers.
Still alive. It's styrofoam food service containers.
Good. I hate styrofoam.
Yeah. Well, it lasts forever.
Okay. Yeah. What are some thorny issues that should be addressed but may not be addressed?
Well, I think we're still looking at a child care tax credit, which I think will really help working families. We did a tax credit last year. I don't know if we're going to add an additional one, the child tax credit, but I think it's a good idea. I think in Europe they do this. They give family credits for having children, which really helps them. Low-income families, which really helps them put food on the table for the children, clothing for the children. So I'm hoping that that's a little thorny, a little expensive, but we'll see if we can do that. Another issue that has come up is to give people on the lowest people, elderly and the disabled, get a small grant from the state, supposedly to help live on. And that has not been increased in 50 years. So that's an issue that we should look at and really try to increase the little money that they get to survive on. We're again looking at childcare, access to childcare, trying to make that affordable for low-income folks. Actually, for low-income and middle income, because it's ridiculously expensive. We're looking at a state health exchange to make healthcare more accessible and to make sure that we can control it at the state a little more. In case there's changes at the federal level, at least we'll have our own state health exchange so we can control our health insurance and our health insurance products. So that'll be good. So many issues. We're also going to be looking at homeless prevention and affordable housing. Those are if people don't have a home to live in, their lives are so much more difficult. So,
well, Robyn Gabel, you got a lot on your plate. So let me just say that a lot of people in our state are uninformed about what the legislature does and what it addresses. How do you make Springfield a little bit more relevant to people in their lives?
It's interesting because I worked at the city level as well for an alderman. And when I first got there, I was so excited to be able to do things. And then I realized that everything I wanted to do were laws that happened at the state level. So the state is really the main governmental body where most of the laws that affect us get made. So, people think it's the local level or they think it's the federal level, but it's not. It's the state level. So I know that all my colleagues send out newsletters. So I encourage you to figure out who your state rep is and get on their newsletter list. I think that, our issues are in the paper a lot, but I don't think people realize it's state government. They're just kind of looking at it and they're like, oh, well, this is happening or changes are being made to our travel abilities but those are things that are done at the state level.
Well, you're doing a great job down there, and I really want to congratulate you again on becoming the majority leader. And I'm going to ask you one more thing, and I'm not sure how much you want to talk about it, but we have a mayoral election here in Chicago. It's like, I don't know how it's looking. So, and you have any thoughts on the mayoral election you want to share?
Well, I did endorse Chuy Garcia in the primary.
Yeah, I would root for Chuy too.
Yeah. I felt like he just had a little more experience in all levels of government and the temperament to be the mayor and the ability to do it. So I was a little disappointed that he didn't do better than he did. Now we're faced with some pretty extreme people who are very different. Yeah. And I think we have a pretty clear choices. I'm not quite ready to endorse. I'm sure, I may soon, but
it wouldn't be Vallis though.
Very unlikely, very unlikely. So, it's going to be very interesting. I think that, a lot of the people have made their choice between Brandon Johnson and Vallis. And it's the people who voted for other folks that we're looking at to see which direction they're going to go in. Yeah, a lot of the Black community went with Lightfoot, and a number of the Latinos went with Garcia. So it's going to be interesting to see where they line up and where we end up in this.
Well, Robyn Gabel, you've been a wonderful person to have on the show again. It's been a while. And is there anything that I didn't ask you that you want to share or talk about, or any parting words of enthusiasm or warning? Give us a shot here.
Yeah, I think we have a new day in Springfield. We have a new day of openness, and I encourage you all to participate, to come down, to visit, to let us know what you think about different issues and different bills. We are incredibly interested in what you have to say, and it's just a great time to be in Springfield right now. We have an amazing governor and a great president of the Senate and Speaker of the House. It is an amazing time to be here and to be able to really do the best we can to improve people's lives in the state. So thank you for inviting me. And I look forward to, if I can, to attending your photography show. I always love your photographs. They are fantastic. And thank you.
Comrade sister, I want to thank you very much for coming on the show. You really are good. You've really come a long way, and the women's movement and the human movement needs you and all the good work that you do.
Thank
So
you.
thank you so much, Robyn. We'll
Thank
see you
you.
real soon.